What up, what up? It's the original Dom Kennedy, and you can check me out right here on that Bootleg Kev Podcast, OPM.
Bootleg Kev show special guest in here. Got the homie Dom Kennedy, man.
That's right. What it do, Bootleg Kev? Good to be here, champ.
Yeah. Hey, so talk about, man, first of all, you've been on a run, a very underrated run the last few years between the $500,000 shit. You put an album out last year, and then From the West Side with Love 3.
Yeah.
This is like your baby, this series.
Yeah.
It's kind of I remember the first time I heard 1997. This is kind of like the original was what really put you on the map.
Exactly.
Why now have dropped part 3? Because part 2 was what, 2011?
2011. First one 2010, 2011, 2021. Man, just the ups and downs of the music game. You know what I'm saying? Loving it, being in love with it, you know, having some successes, you know, being underrated, getting to the label stage, taking meetings, you know, and just realizing like you said, my passion is From the West Side with Love. You know, one of my staple, you know, I don't know, somebody asked me one day, if you had a book about your life, what would you call it? And I was like, From the West Side with Love. You know what I'm saying? And so as I'm, you know, after working with Hit Boy, let's say maybe 2018, 2017, 2019, last year I put out Rap and Roll. You know, I kind of kept the songs that I do with Hit separate from songs that I create on my own with other producers. And then we started working and I did a couple solo songs. And I told Hit, like, man, you know, he was really inspiring me in like a different way with my music. And I told him, like, you know what? I think I can make From the West Side with Love 3, you know, and I need your help, you know? And that was kind of the beginning of it. And that was like a year and a half ago.
You know, it's crazy, the relationship that you guys musically have put on paper the last few years.
Yeah.
Whether it's the $500,000 shit or whether it's like, I feel like hearing you on records with like Nas, like just certain shit that like you never thought you would ever hear.
Yeah.
And I feel like what like one day we'll look back at like the last few years that Hit Boy's had and just the magic that's coming out of his studio, the relationships that are happening.
Amen.
You know, the shit he's doing with Sean, the shit he's doing with Nas, the shit he's doing with you. And I just think it's real special. Like, what's that energy like over there? Because anytime you go over to Hit spot, like, you'll never know who's going to be in the studio.
Never know.
And he brings so many worlds together that wouldn't be together.
Yeah, never know. Brings so many, from, you know, producers to engineers. Like the engineer I work with now built the relationship through working with Hit, you know, and several artists, even collabs that's never come out, or, you know, we never done any music, you know, people like Anderson .Paak, you know what I mean? Like people like Sweetie, you know what I mean? Like they'll literally be in the studio on a random day, you know what I'm saying? And the collaborations is open. So when you hear me with like Quinn Miller or like Nas, for instance, on the Courtesy of $500,000, those is just coming from everybody just building. Me on Big Sean album, you know, that's coming from us eating together, sharing music, sharing ideas. Somebody Sean maybe playing a verse, and then me being like, I could add something to that, you know, and it end up on this album. You know what I'm saying? But that's all directly related around Hit Boy. Like he's like the sun, you know what I mean, the solar system, and we all are planets, but we all moving around bro's energy and his spirit. You
were on Burden of Proof too, right?
I was, exactly.
And that's like something that nobody, I would never ever think that Dom and Benny would be on a record together.
I never had no relationship with nobody. Shout out to Benny the Butcher, man. Obviously super talented, you know, East Coast MC, but it's no connection there outside of Hit Boy. You know, that's, I'm doing an album with Benny. He's 6-7 songs in. That's what's up. I'm listening to it like, damn, bro, hard. You know, he coming in every day working, listening to beats. His process was different. So in the instance of that song that I'm on, you know, just seeing how he took his time just mentally writing. He didn't write nothing down, but he would just walk around, listen to the song, and then I'm like, again, like, yo, I could contribute. That's a big factor for me. That's one thing that me and Hit always talk about. It's like whether it's a Dom Kennedy song or not, I always got something I could contribute, even if it's just insight, even if it's 4 bars, 8 bars, whatever. I always have something to contribute, and just being in that environment and people knowing who I am, I think as well, obviously, you know, allows me them to be like, yeah, go ahead. You know what I mean? And then like in the case of that Benny song, just dropping that hook and then being like, dang, shit hard, you know what I mean? And then next thing I know, it's out, and people like, I heard you on Benny the Butcher album. Right. Yeah, that's what's up. You know what I mean?
You talked about being like underappreciated, underrated.
Yeah.
I feel like your whole career, that's kind of been the story, right?
You
like,
said that. I didn't say that.
No, you just said that. Didn't you just say that?
I don't know.
You said,
Did I say that?
Yeah, you said that.
All right.
But what is the, like for you,
Yeah.
I feel like you kind of been the people's champ at LA for your
sure.
whole career. You know what I'm saying? And you have like an extremely hardcore fan base that just fucks with you, and they fuck with you over all this time. Like we think it's been 11 years since the first From the West Side with Love.
Yep. Put my first project out in 2008, man. So I've been in it for a minute. You know what I mean? For sure. 13 plus at least, you know?
What do you think is like, you know, the reason why maybe you might still be a little underrated, or why you still kind of fly under the commercial radar a bit?
Well, I never embraced fully commercial success, you know, never chased like fully commercial approval. I don't want to say records, because to me, a song is just a song.
Right,
you know
right,
what I'm
right.
saying? It's certain things that you have to do, obviously, if you want, you know, maximum spins and exposure and to fit into, you know, what they call now playlists, but just fully never embracing. You know, one of my homies that really know me, he told me a couple years ago, like, man, he felt like I kind of did everything but like embrace the rap game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you feel like you're in the rap game, but you're kind of like an outsider of the rap game.
Exactly.
And you're like at peace with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, and that, just him saying that kind of made it more like, put it on my conscience more to like, I don't want to be a anti, you know, the rap game. So it's not like I'll go out my way to embrace it or do things, even like the features that we just was talking about and things like that. But that's probably things 4 or 5 years ago I probably wouldn't even.
I was gonna say, old Dom, like I felt like seeing you on all these albums and projects,
I just wouldn't have been available,
right?
You know, for stuff like that. But just understanding my position in it and how important it is to myself and others. Like, and once my real, you know, once somebody that really love you and know you, you know, pre the rap game and all that really tells you something like that, you gotta listen, you know. And so I did take it to heart, and I began like, you know, just examining everything, just helping more people and myself even, you know, where I could.
Yeah, no, I think like you obviously, as far as like, you had other opportunities too, right? Because I know there was a point in time where everyone was trying to sign you. Yeah. At the peak of MMG, I know you guys had conversations.
Yeah.
Like, what was like? Were you always just like, yo, I'm gonna do it the OPM way? Like, you know, like why did you never really take that bigger step as far as like?
Never, ownership was never on the table. And I always, more than anything, more than being a celebrity, more than being super rich off of, you know, whatever they could offer me in any way, I always wanted to be a CEO. You know what I'm saying? That's like important. I always wanted to be a CEO. I always thought of myself as a CEO. And I always felt like I was smarter than just what the microphone and the instrumental had to offer. You know, and my only thing was, it wasn't a fear I had, but I never wanted to just be diminished. Like, as good as I could be as a rapper, as an artist, I never just wanted to just be that. You know, that would have felt like a failure to me automatically. Like, if I had a room full of plaques and like a pile full of money, like DuckTales,
right, yeah.
And I was just a rapper, I would still feel bad.
Because you're not fulfilled.
Because I was, it would, exactly. I would just be disposable, you know, artist based off of whatever song people deemed was tight, high at the time, and that would be it, you know, and I would be just chasing that.
Well, how serious were those talks? Because I remember Rasa talked to you and Nip at that time, and Wiz at the time.
Yeah.
How serious did those talks get?
With MMG, that was more like obviously I was a lot younger then. I still am and was a big fan of Rick Ross. You know what I mean? And so that was more predicated on, you know, somebody that was heavy in the game and still is, and somebody like myself who was up and coming, who hoped to be, you know, get good at this shit, get great at this, and just trying to learn, you know, like from them. I had other situations with major labels that was a lot closer to being a real, you know, situation. But again, when it came down to ownership and to OPM being represented the right way in the deal, it never really sat right with me. They never really saw the full potential of like what it was that I wanted to do and what we was capable of doing. So again, it was easy for me to say no, because if all I was gonna be diminished to was like an artist on trial, I had passed that. All the artists that they was trying to do that with, I had did more shows than them already. You know what I'm saying? Like I had sold more t-shirts than them already. Right. You know, like we was doing venues. Like I wasn't interested in none of that, you know? I was not genuinely in my heart, I was never really interested in any of that.
What would be some advice you would give to like a bubbling artist? Because obviously you came up in a different era when, I mean, I really feel like it was kind of like peak blog era. Yeah. Two Dope Boys, Not Right. You know what I'm saying?
When I was starting out and we was first getting noticed, it was coming out of that. It was free music.
Yeah, it was a different time, and I also thought it was dope because there were so many curators that really had power. Yeah. Because like maybe Shake and Mech fuck with you over here. Yeah. So if they post you, like Rap Radar might post, you know what I mean? Yeah. Now it's like very few people in charge of these playlists that can make or break people's careers. But at the same time, like there's other ways to build a organic following and to monetize being an artist if you could figure out how to get those fans to, you know, spend money with you. But in 2021, what would be some advice you would give to some upcoming artists that are kind of bubbling? Like just to kind of, you know, whether or not it's to stay independent or to sign or just some things that they can do.
Now it's a different game. You know, it would depend on what your intent was coming in. You know, my intent was to build a label. I was inspired by Jay Prince, Master P, Suge Knight, Sean Combs, Russell Simmons, people like that. That was the type of legacy, regardless of if anybody wanted to box me in as just, you know, in a blog era rapper. That's how I honestly saw myself in my label, you know, and I'm still working towards that right now. So if you're an artist coming in right now, you might need a label to push a record because, like you said, it's so many gatekeepers now and the game is so in a twist. I don't see too many people that could do what I do. That's just being honest. That's just being honest. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, I never did back then, and I don't, especially right now. Because to do what I do, you have to be really great. You have to have a lot of, you know, that's why I only really fucked with Nip coming up. Right. Because he the only one that had the courage and the, you know what I'm saying, the talent and to back it up, you know, and to go out there, like how we was talking before this, you got to go out in your hometown and do your thing and around the country as well, around the world as well, and represent, you know what I'm saying, and let people see that. And it's like, if you can't do that, if you're not willing to do that without no machine behind you, you can't play in my game. You can't play, it's impossible. It's impossible. You know what I mean? I did it a couple times, you know, multiple times. And it's like, I would not lie to somebody and tell them like follow my footsteps.
Right. Because not everybody's built to walk down that same path.
Nah, not at all. You know, a lot of them, they need the system.
Yeah, because if you don't got the system behind you, then you got to really depend on yourself. You got to be willing to take risks that not a lot of people
you got to have money. You got to have insight. You got to be able to, you know, weather through a whole couple seasons maybe of just grinding it out with great producers. You know, me and Nip in the studio with Mike and Keys for 8 months. Them days is over, you know what I'm saying? Like, we had great producers, we had great ideas, but that led us to the victories and to the better days later. But it's like, a lot of people, they can't weather that. They want instant results, you know what I mean? It took us years of believing in ourselves and working on what we thought was good to be able to present it to the world, you know? I don't see that type of patience.
Right. People, the patience is kind of out the window these days. Yeah. People want instant results.
Yeah. They want to put out a song and, you know.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, go viral and do their thing. And that's all good. But that type of response takes like a system without a doubt.
Yeah, no, that kind of response takes a bag.
Exactly.
It takes like a machine.
It does. And I wouldn't lie to a kid and tell him like, oh, you could do this or you could achieve these type of numbers or these type of results without that.
Because otherwise you're hitting the lottery because it happens, but it happens very seldomly, right? Like somebody independently gets a TikTok record that goes, you know what I'm saying? Right. It's like hitting the lotto, low key. Right, yeah. You mentioned like how you and Nip's relationship was, you know, a great one that was very important to hip hop. You guys put out incredible records together. You guys were peers I feel like you guys kind of career-wise were parallel to each other the whole time. What was it about Nip from the jump that you guys just kind of saw each other as the, you know, like he's one of me, you know what I'm saying? Like we built the same way type
just
shit.
The neighborhood, you know what I'm saying, where Nip comes from, I know that area well. You know, Leimert Park is down the street. You know, this is all actual factuals, not just rap, you know, and we got a lot of the same homies and knew a lot of the same people coming up. I didn't know Nip growing up, but immediately when I saw him, you know, doing what he was gonna do in the music business, I understood it because I had that type of heart as well. You know, I had that type of heart as well, and I knew that immediately upon discovering him that this was somebody that I was gonna work with, and you know, our careers would be intertwined in a way, you know, and I chose to make it a good story, you know, immediately, even before I met him, you know, and so, you know, just meeting him, I thought, like, you know, he was brilliant. He was serious about what he was gonna do. I could tell that at a young age, and the most important thing I love was the structure of the business. I love, you know, Black Sam, you know, Paniche, you know, household names, J-Rock, you know, Fats, rest in peace. You know, these was like Kabi Supreme. These was like people that he really loved and worked with, and they all respected each other. And I thought that I wanted my friends and my family to see that, because that's what I wanted, you know, I wanted us to be. And eventually we had separate crews. He had All Money In, I have OPM. But, you know, when we got together, it was always like a family thing. You know, we had shows together where, you know, his family would be selling merch, my family would be selling merch. Simple as that, you know, trading secrets side by side on, you know, new technologies and things like that, things that people never really saw. Right. You know, and that was like those were the most important things to me, you know what I mean, to be there for him when he was trying to make something of his career, when people maybe didn't believe in it, but I knew how talented and how special that he was, for sure. It's just it's an art to this all, you know, and trying to get people to feel that through music is not easy, you know?
No, it's definitely, I feel like you guys are always going to be synonymous with each other in terms of just the classic record y'all got.
And, for sure.
And I just feel like, you know, out of LA from like 2010 on, like you guys were built for the longevity. Like if you think about all the artists that came up during that era, obviously there's Kendrick, J-Rock, but you guys kind of, I feel like you guys kind of embody ownership.
Yeah.
Boss shit.
Accountability.
Yeah, for sure.
Accountability. We used to talk about it a lot. You know, it was words that was thrown around, you know, and the great thing about it is now we inspired a lot of artists that's out right now doing their thing, and that's the most incredible part, is that all those times that we were sitting around trying to make songs and inspire people and, you know, find our fans and our voices, and it's like now people really appreciate it, you know, and we probably didn't get that then, and we wasn't in it for the glory or the credit immediately, so it didn't really matter. But I think the beautiful thing is like all the artists that's out right now that's having their career and having their way with it was the ones that was inspired and listening to the things that we was putting out, you know, when we was doing our thing.
There was like this, I know that there was supposed to be like some sort of super group with you, Nip, and was it YG?
A little bit, yeah. You know about that? Yeah. Okay.
So like this like Nipsey, YG, Dom.
Yeah.
I remember like hearing that this was like a real thing that was supposed to happen.
Yeah, it was talks about it.
What ended up happening with that, and like how far along did those talks get? Like,
I remember we had a couple phone conversations about it. Like everybody had to get on the phone. You know, a couple people. I think they just was surprised at that time and wanted to hear everybody's voice together to agree with it, because it was like speculation. I don't even know who first presented it or came up with it, but yeah, it was a little time where that was like on the table. And I remember we had maybe one or two phone calls about it where we were all on a conference call just in agreement with it, and just, you know, figuring
just didn't
it
end
out.
up working out.
Nah, I mean, I think that all those careers was just going in different trajectories at that time. And that was one of the things, because we never even really got in and made no songs or like made no plans. It was just all like talks at the time.
That's what I was going to say, was like, so there was no music that was recorded. Damn.
Nah, it was no like official sessions for that at all in any way.
Do you still have unreleased records with Nip that may or may not see the light of day one day?
Me personally, I don't. Not that I could think of. Nope. Every single thing that I'm saying, I'm sure that there are songs that, you know, either myself, Mike and Keys, they got all the music, you know.
They got some shit for sure.
They got all the shit, yeah. So I'm not saying that people won't, but it's nothing that I have that I'm like, oh, I'm saving this for this, you know, or like I have it for this, or Nip did a verse or drop. Like, nah, I don't have anything like that.
Double Up is obviously one of the highlights of Victory Lap. What can you tell us about your role in that record and how that record came out?
Man, that was a beautiful evening, man. Nip had, you know, he was working on his album. We went from like, you know, on the come up, and in the times where we was really working together, we worked together heavy, like damn near every day for like a couple years, all the time, you know. And then when they got the deal with Atlantic and I was doing other stuff, I had traveled and did a couple tours, and I hadn't really seen Nip as much for like a little window besides like shows. He came to one of my festivals in Anaheim. Might have been day and night. I don't know, at the Angel Stadium. I think that was a big one. Yeah. He came out and showed up for me. And then a little bit after that, you know, he was working on the album the whole time though. That's one thing I could say. Like,
he took his time with Victory Lap.
He was always focused like about that album and being adamant about it coming out one day how it was, because I remember having combos with him years ago and him playing me songs that was still on, or ideas that was, you know, way before that album came out. So, you know, in the midst of all of that, you know, I would see bro, and he was like, man, come, I want to play you the album. He was camped out at what's the spot off Vine? You know it, Paramount. He used to have his whip right there on the curb. Everybody know him. I went up there one day and he was like, yeah, you know, the music done. I'm just vibing, just listening, showing my support. He was getting tatted. It was funny because I remember he was getting blasted. The big All Money In on that was a part of the rollout. He took his shirt off a lot on the campaign. So I was there the night he was getting blasted and he was playing me songs. And he was like, man, really? I just got one verse song that I really, really love that I haven't did 2 verses, but that could make the album. And he played it. And I just went right in the booth. And I remember he was getting tired and he was smiling, just looking at me, you know what I mean, recording it. I'll never forget that. And I could just see him through the window and he was like listening to what I was saying and he was getting tatted. And it was just a cool night, man. And the next time I really heard the song or really found out, you know, how it went down was really when it released.
Yeah, like,
you know,
Belly's on it.
Being at the release party, yeah, exactly. And then hearing, you know, exactly what Belly had added to it and just the final project, man. And I just thought it was like of the highest quality, you know, not that that's what I expect from Nip, but I was really floored by how well, you know, he was able to weather the storm and really get his vision all the way out on the highest level, man. I'll forever be proud of him for that.
Yes, it might be my favorite song on Victory Lap. It's one of them, but it's crazy because like I just think like, what if Nip was still here and he was over there at Chalice with what's going on at Hit Boy Spot? Like I feel like
he
him
made
and Hit
racks in the middle.
That's what I'm saying. Like they were just getting their like, you know what I'm saying? Like just imagine. The crazy collabs that would be coming out.
I know. I think about it every day, man. That was the last place I saw him and spoke to him in Hit Boy studio, finishing Racks in the Middle.
Yep.
You know?
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
The great.
Hey, what up, man? We got to interrupt the interview real quick to tell you about our family at Odd Socks. Now, when I be riding for Odd Socks so hard, man, it's because I really love the product. They got the most comfortable socks in the fucking world. I got a pair of Odd Socks Basics on right now. Go get those. They got the socks, WWE joints, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to The Undertaker, Pepsi, motherfucking, really whatever you need. Some weed socks, Nickelodeon. But really, they got the draws now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm holding a pair of Tapatio underwear right now. You want some Pop-Tarts on your dick? Pop-Tart draws. And these motherfuckers are so comfortable. Like, man. So listen, you got to go to oddsocksofficial.com and use the promo code, the discount code Bootleg Kev at oddsocksofficial.com. You'll save 20% off underwear, the most comfortable socks in the world. Crazy licenses. Not only they got the WWE, they got the Scarface, they got the Street Fighter, they got the Nickelodeon, they got it all. So make sure you hit that website, oddsocksofficial.com. Save 20% off with the promo code Bootleg Kev. All right? Go do that. Shout out to Odd Socks. Let's get back to the interview. You got to help me understand, man. When or how can we get the original on the DSPs and the Yellow Album on the DSPs?
Okay, those are real expensive. I say that a lot. My fans know because of all the features and the sample clearances.
No disrespect to Dat Piff and their app.
Man, they have nothing to do with it.
No, but I'm just saying that if I want to listen to, I gotta go to Dat Piff.
I know,
or I gotta pull up the YouTube.
Recently, I just almost been like, fuck it, and let's just take our shot and just run it.
See what happens.
See what happens.
Static.
I know we'll get sued though,
but you might not. So listen, Static Selector always told me this because he samples all his shit. Right. I don't even want to air his shit out but he's like, hey bro, fuck. If I get sued, that means the record's doing something.
Yep, facts, man. But with the guest features on there, with the paperwork that they tied to, you could imagine that they're not gonna let that go.
The guest feature shit might be tough.
I got Rick Ross,
unless you
Kendrick
just throw
Lamar.
it up without it having any of the features on it. Like the track list is just, it doesn't say their name on it. They're on there.
I would have to if I went that way. But I have been in discussions. We working on some, maybe a little anniversary or just something fly, like a relaunch for that one. That would be special, man. I definitely want to do that before sooner than later. I will say that. I think about it a lot. I've been in discussions with people that don't even have nothing to do with me, honestly, but just want to help, that's in tune with business and music. And they're like, yo, look into this and this. But it's a process, It's like
Wiz finally got Cushion Orange Juice on the DSPs. And then, I was just, Big Crit got all his old shit on the DSPs.
It takes time. Joey Badass.
Yeah. And the era that you guys came up, they were mixtapes, but they weren't. They were albums.
That was free music.
Yeah, it was just free music.
It was great music. To me, I always wanted to make my music as albums. I always tried to keep that integrity, but it was free music back then, so I don't feel cheated. I don't feel, bitter about none of that because that's how I made that music. I knew what I was doing going into it. I came off the era where they thought the music business was done.
That's real.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, people forget that when they ask questions and they think like, oh, Spotify. Like, nigga, I don't think about Spotify when I make songs. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was around before that. Like, I think about the fans. I think about what I want to say. I think about great music.
Yeah, because back then you guys had to figure out how to monetize everything else but the music, because you were dropping free music.
If shit died tomorrow, I would not give a fuck. You feel me? Like, I would still do my thing. I would still figure it out. I would still make a way just like I did before. That's all they result of trying to be in the music business. Like, that, it doesn't really affect like my process, But at the end of the day, I want to get the flyest music possible to the fans. So that's where I have to deal with it.
Yeah, it's definitely I feel like with a lot of like my favorite artists from that era, it's like, fuck, like J. Cole, I just saw him at the Forum and he performed some shit on Friday Night Lights. I'm like, only if we could get Friday Night Lights on
It's not, see, I wouldn't know. Like, but yeah, I imagine it's a lot of artists and a lot of great, music like back in the day.
Yeah, the old school Wale tapes, like all that shit. Like, yeah.
You want to buy a certain movie on DVDs, it might not be at Best Buy.
That's real.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's how the game goes sometimes. I was looking for the Mac, you know what I mean, on DVD.
I be trying to find shit on like, can I buy it on Amazon Prime?
Exactly.
I'm like, shit, I gotta
get
the DVD.
Shit hard to find,
As far as the CEO shit, man, like obviously, you've been building OPM for a minute, and you got some really dope, talented artists that you've been working with over the years. Shout out to Nico 4G and
G4
or G4.
Nico G4.
I remember he came in freestyle, killed it with you. Yeah. But what is like the roster looking like now?
We about to expand. 2022, we expanding. Right now, we still got Dom Kennedy, of course. We got J305, Nico G4.
Shout out to Jay, who's one of the funniest motherfuckers alive.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's my homie. You know what I'm saying? It's a small roster, you know what I'm saying, right now, but I'm expanding, man. I don't want to say like what I got going in the works right now and, put it all the way out there, but definitely in 2022, you're going to see some new artists come out on OPM, you know what I mean? And the whole vision is going to come to fruition for sure. So look forward to that.
Distro shit with, like, Interscope was kind of your partner on some shit, right?
No, they wasn't. They was trying to sign us, but
that's what it was.
Yeah, they was trying to do a deal with us, but mainly just with me, and J305 ended up at a point he had a solo deal.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, he had a solo deal for his first album, came out officially through Interscope. But no Dom Kennedy music, nothing else ever came out.
What's the latest? What's going on with Jay?
He's about to put out some singles, hopefully sooner than later, probably top of the year. You know what I'm saying? But he's working on some singles right now, playing me a couple, songs. But Jay is Jay. He gonna do what he do. You know what I'm saying? He official LA. So it's hard for him to kind of like he's an LA celebrity and then it's the rap game. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, no, for sure.
The LA celebrity kind of always takes precedent over the rap game, you know?
I mean, we all got friends here in the LA hip hop scene that are the same way.
Exactly. Exactly.
You talked about being influential to a lot of the artists that are kind of doing their thing now.
Yeah.
Someone who I always kind of, when I listen to, I always reminds me of you is Larry June.
Larry June, yeah.
I feel like Larry June's like the Bay's Dom Kennedy low key.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
sure. Larry June, man. I look at him as the Bay's Larry June, man.
But he's been killing it for years. But I'm glad to see he's someone who's finally starting to get a lot of like looks. But like,
well deserved.
Who are some people who you like that you're fans of that is a part of the new generation of the rap shit that you're like,
Blast, Don Toliver. You know, I really like his innovation. You know what I'm saying? People like Meg Thee Stallion, and Jason Cash, he another artist
Jason's
that
crazy.
just come
Shout out
out.
to Carson.
Yeah, from Carson, exactly. Chopping it with him, and Bino Rideau. Obviously, I was just at Bino's show last night, and all of those people is kind of like loosely intertwined in, music that I had probably a decade ago that helped them kind of see themselves in the space that they in right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's important for me. But those people right there kind of stick out the most, when meeting somebody like Blast and them truly like knowing about my catalog and like what year certain shit came out and where they was at with it, and then seeing the success they have, it definitely makes me feel good because it's like, all that work didn't go unnoticed. All that music, I'm real sincere about this shit, making music, being an artist first and foremost. And so when you see other artists flourishing and doing their thing and they just randomly might shout you out. A lot of people was hitting me like a year ago when Don Toliver was doing his press run and he was shouting me out a lot on like bigger platforms, and people was kind of like thrown off by it. But I understood it because I've done shows for years in Houston.
Right.
For years in Houston, no coverage, no big, hoopla, but selling out shows. And I'm like, these are the type of people, reason why I was out there selling tickets and having fans. It was kids like that was probably in high school doing their thing, whatever. And they was, for some reason, they gravitated towards my message and my music, No,
that's crazy. Yeah, there's definitely like I feel like, Phoenix is where I'm from, and I know that's a big market for you, but you have like your certain pockets of the country where motherfuckers just show out for you, bro.
Yep. Arizona, DC,
DC's big for you?
What?
That's crazy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Shout out to DC, Maryland, Virginia, period. But like my show in DC at like Howard Theater, Silver Springs, Maryland, cracking.
Crazy.
Cracking. Yeah, for sure. For years though. Years, like this is not new, this like years, supported me for years, Atlanta, Detroit, for real. These is places that's like filled with real people that really, on a random day during the week, in bad weather, will come out and pack a venue for me just to see me, do my thing, and I definitely appreciate it.
You also always have like a banger on deck with T-Fly.
Yeah.
T-Fly is someone who I think maybe doesn't get enough flowers. Like, T-Fly had the this Dick record that was huge. But like you guys always have a record together. Yeah. I feel like it almost feels like every project.
T-Fly is like my brother, man. Like it was funny because in that era where I was talking about working with Nip and doing all of that, I met T-Fly during those times. He had the studio in the same building next to us.
Okay.
But I didn't know T-Fly. But every day, he used to sleep at the studio. We would leave. Like, we kind of was having money a little bit. We had cars. T-Fly was on the come up about to get a deal with, I think, Sony, Epic, whoever he had his deal with.
Right.
He was trying to get that deal, I was hearing all the music that he was recording that wasn't out, and that's how I got familiar with him. So by the time I'm working on Get Home Safely, and I remember I was somewhere at a truck stop on the road one day, and somebody came up to me, and it's a true story, like randomly, I swear to God, like 2 a.m, I'm at a little thing looking through the little glass about to get a ginger ale or some shit, a water, and the dude is like, he's staring at me. I'm obviously like, okay, he gonna say something about music, and he asked me like, how did you know to put T-Fly on that song? And I was like, damn. I mean, I guess that's how he looked at it, you know, like it just came out of nowhere. But nah, when we was recording, T-Fly was in that same building recording, so I was hearing his songs every day. He was recording 3 or 4 songs, and I realized I knew the songs before they came out.
Oh, wow.
Because I was hearing him play them all day while we was just sitting there eating, chilling. I was hearing them, so by the time I got to doing Get Home Safely, and I had the beat for Still Calling, I went in his room, and I said, could you do a hook for me on this? And then I'll do the verse. You know what I'm saying? And I sat there with him, and he was like, cool. And that's really how our collaborations really started working. You know what I'm saying? After that one day, it was like a Saturday, I remember, and I was like, man, I got this beat, bro. I think that you would kill it. And we did Still Calling that day. And then I've been working with bro literally ever since till shit. I seen him last week.
I was gonna say, yeah, you guys, I feel like you guys.
Yeah, we never really fell out. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I understand what he does, and he understands what I do, and we always rocking. And you know, I put out an EP on OPM, like a 5-song EP, and I ended up being on 4 songs, not intentionally, but just being on songs. But yeah, me and T-Fly working on a collaboration for the people, man. I'm glad you asked.
Nice. So you guys are gonna put up like an EP?
Yeah, on OPM, we gonna put out an album.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's
together. Yeah, we already working on it. I was working on it before. That's a Bootleg Kev exclusive.
So a T-Fly Dom project on the way. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you guys have such a crazy chemistry.
Yeah, we're gonna do a whole album. We already more than halfway in. I kind of put it on pause to finish the West Side 3, but that's how I got that intermission, and it was kind of like a warm up to introduce and to keep the vibes going for the album. People will hear it, but we got a great, you know, we're gonna put out a great body of work 2022.
How many records you guys have done?
Right now, shit, maybe 12, but only like...
Sounds like an album.
Yeah, but yeah, probably really like 3 or 4 that I really want to keep. We got a lot of work to do, but we going to put it out though. It's already on the books, for sure.
Fire.
Yeah, it's already on the books. It's something we've been working on.
One of my favorite records of yours was CDC with you, Carter, and Casey.
Young Veggies, yeah.
Shout out Casey Veggies. That record was incredible, and I always we used to bump the fuck out of that song. And did you guys ever talk about putting a tape out as like CDC, or was there ever any sort of like...
It was just being funny, like abbreviating our names at that time. You know what I'm saying? The title of that song. That was a beat that Hit Boy had through us. And we just
Hit Boy beat. That's so crazy. I don't even realize that was a Hit Boy beat. That's one of my favorite Dom records. That's why I come
through like that.
That's so crazy.
That was Hit Boy, and that was Casey Veggies just going crazy on it, like how we do, pulling up, staying in attendance. Bro got off on it at my studio, and then the rest is history, you know. But that was a Hit Boy beat. That came out of a photo of some beats that Hit Boy gave me that Casey had picked and just went crazy.
What year was that? Was that 2012?
2011. That was 11.
So that was around the time Watch the Throne came out?
That was pre that.
So it was like right before that then.
You could even say a lot that the thesis for Watch the Throne was that song.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you could say that.
That's
wholeheartedly,
crazy.
You could say that. That sound spun off of that right there.
That's wild. Yo, so the album is out. Is there going to be another OPM compilation coming?
Man, I hope so, Young Nation, man. Thanks for asking. Yeah, that's one thing I've been flirting with. You know what I mean? Nico G4, he just put out a tape called Winter's Tape. It's doing pretty well. And then just in the midst of like recording West Side with Love 3, working with Jay, you know, those Young Nation compilation albums are designed for everybody to shine and then to spin off and get fans on their own solo projects. Right. It's definitely one, like it was a big gap between the first one and the second one. And then one thing I've been telling the crew is like, we gotta do a better job. If that's a platform that we have, we should do a better job of introducing new music, new artists, staying current ourselves with new ideas and new production through those platforms. So it's very, very likely that you'll see a Young Nation Volume 3 in 2022 as well.
Do you feel like you're still like learning, rolling with the punches when it comes to doing the CEO shit? Because there's no like, there's no real blueprint to anything, right?
It's not, and it changes every day. You know, people in positions that you might meet and have a contact, and then next you might call them 2 months later, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not even doing that no more, but I'm doing this." You know what I'm saying? So I've learned that. I've learned how to deal with producers, artists. You know, I've had artists now that have deals and then don't have deals. And you know, I had a group called Warm Brew. They was doing their thing. They don't.
Was Warm Brew are they the ones who did? You guys collaborated with Red Bull? Was it?
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I had a situation with Red Bull, but they're not a group anymore. You know, so I kind of have learned that it's like, being a CEO and having a true label is not like everything doesn't go as planned. So hell yeah, it's ups and downs.
So Warm Brew broke up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Officially, you know that's not an OPM call. That's a Warm Brew call. Like I collaborate with these people, but you know, just going from okay, this is something new, this is exciting, to like, damn, they're not doing it no more, you know, and you kind of got to accept that, just like a label does. Like every artist that a label signs, maybe 1 out of 100 of them go platinum.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? It's a numbers
game for them.
Yeah, so you can't sit around and be like, oh, they don't, you know, this didn't work out, so it's done. Like, nah, you just keep going. You take it as a lesson learned. You got great music that you made in the process and things that you learn, and you just apply that shit going forward, you know? But yeah, I take it's been more bruises on that side than anything, man. Being on the CEO side, it's tough. And for a point in time, it weighed down on my artistry as well, you know, because as I got older, I'm older now, so I wanted to like be more involved in business, you know, and I was cool with being an artist. Obviously, I had made dope songs. I was a rapper, but it kind of started bothering me, I think, in a way, a couple years where it was like I wanted to be more in the business and more, you know, serious about that and help more artists, but it just wasn't working out. So it kind of like, you know, not soured how I looked at the game, but just like it made it less fun. I will say that.
Yeah, I feel like when you start dealing with other artists and you start dealing with individuals in general, right, with anything, like you feel like, yo, I've done all this. Yeah. Is it like hard? Like, I don't want to use the word babysitting, but is it hard to like work with a bunch of different variables when it comes to being like, hey, yeah.
It is.
This is what you need to do.
It is.
But you can't walk someone.
It is, because it's non-transferable, man. Right. It's like I work out at 7:00, right? If I go work out, you don't get stronger. You know what I'm saying? You got to go. I could tell you what I'm doing. I could even let you come, you know, ride with me. But if you don't want to do...
This is what time I'm going to be there, pull up.
Right. If you don't do the same things, at least, like, how could you expect the same results, you know? And it's non-transferable, so no matter nothing I tell you or try to pound into your head could really work unless you embrace it and do it yourself. And your results might be better than mine. You know, that's one thing I try to get them to understand. Like, I didn't do it the best way or the right way. I did it my way, you know, and what I thought was best at the time for me, my self-esteem, my state of mind, you know, my heart. Like, I do what's best for that. But that doesn't mean that you got to do what I do, you know, and do it your way. You know, take the good parts, leave the parts you don't like.
I think the best artists that end up making it and having the most longevity, I mean, everyone has management and all that, but are kind of like self-managers, if that makes sense.
You got to.
Like, they almost like, they're like, if they didn't have management, they would take the initiative. They're self-starters. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
You got to.
Because I see so many artists that are fucking incredible, but the reason why they never made it is maybe because they were lazy or they just didn't.
Yeah. You got to be self-motivated, man. Nobody's going to, at the end of the day, your manager, you know, all of that, they following your lead. You know, they can only get you to believe and do so much, you know. And another thing is, like, people want to see us as the artists enthusiastic. You know, we got to love it before we could sell it to anybody, even your manager, even your, you know, whoever. Like, people could tell if you really in tune, if you really are who you say you are, if you really are what you pushing, you know. And what you want is to attract people that believe in the same things as you, you know what I'm saying? And don't mind, you know, spreading, promoting, whatever it is, you know, your agenda, your product, you know?
100%. Yeah, how you gonna ask someone to be enthusiastic about your shit if you're not?
And you just laid up, like, you know, not really tripping, and you want them to be, you know, come back like, oh, I got you on Jay Leno, and it's like, what? Like, that don't happen, you know?
Nah,
they look
real.
at it like that, but that's not how the game goes, you know what I'm saying?
Some people be too cool about their own shit, and it's like, yo, this is your shit. You gotta love this shit.
Exactly. If you don't love it, you cannot expect anybody else to work harder than you or to love your product more than you. That's a fool's game, you know?
And even like when you, like, you know, there's we're in LA, right? So there's always opportunities where people will get the aux cord in the studio. Like, yo, don't just play that shit and like sit back. Like,
right.
You gotta like feel your shit in those moments. You know what I'm saying?
And work your way up to feeling that. If you don't feel that way, be honest about it and keep going till you do. You know?
Are you and Hit Boy gonna do any more Half a Mil shit?
Yeah, courtesy Half a Mil. I mean, originally it was a trilogy anyway. So we've dropped 2 albums.
Right.
We put out the EPs just because we was just learning how to work and what we was gonna be talking about. But we've dropped 2 albums on courtesy Half a Mil, which is me and Hit Boy. We gonna have at least one more for sure. Fire. I don't know when it's coming out, but we already, you know what I mean, it's locked in for sure.
Anything else you got that you're working on? Anything else you want to?
Man, just with my new artists, shooting visuals from the West Side with Love 3.
You just put out the shit on the beach, which was dope with Mike and Keys and
Mike
Mars.
And Keys, Deep Thought, Mars, K. Franklin. You know what I mean? Check that out. Don't Walk Away with Quinn Miller. I'm going to shoot some of the solo videos now. And then 2022, I'll be on the road for sure. More new music. You know, I'm flirting with the idea. Obviously, I'll drop the T-Fly information, but just, man, I want to stay consistent with the music, you know, as long till I'm done just with that part of my spirit. You know what I'm saying? And right now, I really feel like, not that I rediscovered something, but
it feels like you have, though.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Kev. I didn't want to say
I feel like
that.
for a minute, it felt like you weren't really like into this shit anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of factors. You know, a little bit what I touched on earlier about the business side and just certain things when things, you know, it gets like, I don't want to say not being into it because I was always into writing songs and making music, and I do it by myself most of the time. So what is it not to be into? But just rediscovering that passion, you know what I'm saying, and that initial mission statement, you know what I'm saying, and having great friends and people that you know and love like Hit Boy that to just remind you, you know what I'm saying, and support you through it. And that's initially, honestly, why I thought of From the West Side with Love 3 and why it was so important to me. And just seeing you know, it's only been out like not even 2 weeks. So just seeing the initial, you know, feedback just lets me know like, okay, it is a lot on the table for us, and it is a segment of just music in general and especially rap where it's like the conversations and the things that I talk about and the music that I talk about is necessary, you know what I'm saying, and it's a void, and I feel like it's my job to, you know, shed some light on that.
No, you're definitely. I feel like you've been back in your bag the last couple of years, man.
Thank you.
So it's been great. It's been great to see.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear the T-Fly shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be dope. Crazy. It's gonna be dope, man. It's gonna be on point. Like we already got songs I'm excited about, like sharing. That's why I feel, you know, real good about the music that we making and even saying that, and just honestly, just us being. It's really about when, as artists and friends, that we all seeing eye to eye and in a great space as human beings, you know what I'm saying? And that's when I feel like, and what I've seen, like, you know, not saying we all gotta have a lot of money or, you know, chauffeur. It's just, you know, just real life. And I feel like that's happening right now. And From the West Side with Love 3, I feel like it's definitely one of the reasons why, you know, and I want to continue that.
Well, look, go get the album. That shit is fire.
Thank you, man.
I'm sure more visuals are coming, like you said. Yes. So there'll be some more visuals. Hopefully, we'll be hitting the road.
Yep, 2022. I'm looking forward to it. Probably like springtime. We'll be out there. A lot of special guests.
Fire.
You know what I mean? For sure.
There it is, man. Well, look, thanks for pulling up, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.